Welcome back, everybody. It's Howard Bush here with the Bush Push. Today's story is about Tom Hopkins. As we know, Tom Hopkins is a master sales trainer. Started his career out at the age of 18 in construction. Didn't like the construction business at all and decided that he was going to go out in the evenings and get his real estate license, which he got at the age of 18. And at the age of 19, went into the real estate business. In his first 6 months, he made $42 a month. His car broke down, and also he couldn't afford to live anywhere unless he was living with his parents. And his parents also helped him get a new car. So if it wasn't for that fact, he would have never made it in the real estate business. But after 6 months, Tom Hopkins knew he had to do something different because he wasn't that good in selling. And what Tom did is he found out there was cassette tapes by J. Douglas Edwards, listened to those cassette tapes, started working on his rapport and building trust. He started working, watching other salespeople, how they did it, and watched and observed. Started writing thank you notes to anybody who would come in and even call him. He would write thank you notes. And after training for these months and months and months, within 3 years, he became the number one sales agent in the state of California. At the age of 27, became a millionaire. And after 10 straight years of being number one in the state of California, the top real estate agent, he had a winter home in Arizona, and his next door neighbor was J. Douglas Edwards, who also was his mentor. And they were having tea on the back of his porch, and J. Douglas Edwards asked Tom Hopkins, would you be interested in taking over my profession? I'm getting near 70, I can't do this anymore. And Tom said, I would love to. I have no idea how to do it. And J. Douglas Edwards said, listen, I'll teach you everything you need to know. You'll stay with me for a year. 6 months, you'll watch me and I'll train you. And then 6 months, I'll stay with you and critique you. And in a year's time, Tom Hopkins learned how to be a sales trainer. Now, Tom was fortunate enough to be awarded back to a banquet for an honoree as a top real estate agent in the state of California. And he went to this banquet, and he found out that at this banquet there was a real estate agent that was blind in the top 10. And he couldn't believe how somebody could be in the top 10 with such a handicap. And Tom saw him in this banquet, and he said, excuse me, I want to meet this guy. And he said, hi, my name is Tom Hopkins, and I just want to tell you what a great job and accomplishment you made being in the top 10 real estate agents in the state of California. And he said, do you know of me? And the guy said to Tom, of course, Tom. I mean, you were like number one in the state of California for many years, but I didn't hear your name this year. What happened? And Tom said, that's exactly why I came up to you. I became a sales trainer. And why I came up to you is because I wanted to know how you were so successful to be in the top 10 with your impairment. And the guy said, what impairment you talking about? And he says, well, your handicap. And the guy said, what handicap you talking about? He says, well, you're blind. And the guy said to Tom, why is that a handicap? And Tom says, because you can't see. And he goes, Tom, you have the handicap because you can see. And Tom's a little bit confused, and he says to Tom, you want me to share with you what I mean by that? He goes, certainly. He goes, well, let me ask you something. When you get a client and you take him to a house, can you ask him what they see? And Tom said, not really. He says, well, I'm blind, so I have to ask them what they see. And what they tell me, they see that they go into the house, they tell me, oh, there's a beautiful cathedral ceiling. Look at the kitchen. It has a beautiful granite countertops and stainless steel appliances that overlook the whole house. Look at the bedroom. It has two, his and her walk-in closet. Has a beautiful bathroom. Big size bathroom with a double marble sink and a jacuzzi tub and a shower stall and also a window. My God, look at the view out this back window. I can see for miles. There's a cherry tree in the back. And he said to Tom, can you do that when you walk into a house with a client? And Tom said no. He says, Tom, how about this? Can you stop somebody from leaving if they say to you, thanks for showing us the house, Tom. We're going to get together with my wife now for dinner and we'll talk about it. And I'll get back to you tomorrow. Can you stop them from leaving? And Tom said, of course not. He says, well, Tom, because I have such a handicap, they have to drive me from my office to the house. And when they drive me back, because I have such an impairment and because I'm so helpless, Tom, they have to take me and help me back into my office and help me back into my chair. And when they do that, Tom, I ask them, will you please sit down and tell me what you thought of the house? And they tell me everything. Can you do that, Tom? And Tom said no. He says, Tom, who has a handicap, you or me? And Tom says, I understand. I have the handicap. Well, Tom learned one valuable lesson. that God gave you 2 ears and 1 mouth to listen twice as much as you talk. And he realized that you have to basically listen 75 to 80% of the time, and the other 20-25% of the time you're asking questions and presenting your product. And that was a very valuable lesson that Tom learned. And he learned that to make money in sales, 3 things you must do: listen, listen, and listen. I want to thank everybody for coming back, and I want to tell everybody that you always know that you plus the bush push equals success.